Well, the weather's a bit nicer, it's not as blowy, so time to make Bunny Shed Mark II. And we discovered I'd missed a package. There was 2 packages that came with it. And I know from experience that the doors just have like a screw to make up a hinge. So I've got these old hinges, I'm not sure what they were from, I think it was another rabbit run at some point. Anyway, I've got these hinges and I'm going to put them on to the doors before I actually put it all together. So this is what I mean about the doors. They've just put a screw in the top to act as the hinge. So there's no actual hinge. So I'm going to put some actual proper hinges along here to be a bit more proper. It's the same with this door as well, and it's also the same with the door in the front of the run. So this hinge really should fit in that gap quite nicely. The rabbit run that I got that has got hinges has got like a cutout on the door side to put the flange into. But this might not need it. It depends on whether it opens and shuts cleanly or not. I'm not sure. Well, there we go. That's got those positioned quite nicely. And the door shuts. Okay, see, that was a bit offset because it's a small gap this side and a big gap that side, but that was already on there. So I've kind of made the door as even as I can at this end. But those hinges seem to work okay, so I'm going to just screw those in fully. The only thing to check is how far that's going in there. That looks like it's going in far enough to be able to, let's just see how far it's going in. Oh yeah, quite a long way. I should keep it shut. Right, well I put these 2 hinges on as well for the other door, and they work okay, but when it closes there's a really big gap at this end and not a particularly big gap at that end. So this would only offset by a little bit. So I'm going to try and put some kind of little bit of padding, just a couple of millimetres underneath the hinge. I'm not sure if I've got a piece of wood that's thin enough, but I thought a couple of sheets of this might just about do it. I'll just cut that to size and stick that underneath the hinge. There we go. I'll put 2 pieces under that one and 1 under this side because the door appears to be a bit wonky, and it's evened up the gap either side, and it's made a smaller gap this end, and that should be plenty of overlap. And this is the final panel. This is for the front of the downstairs bit. And again, it's just got these kind of rubbish screws as a hinge, so I'm going to put another hinge in here. Yeah, I should be able to do it without any padding this time, I think, because it's quite a close fit at this end. So I've got the instructions out now, but there's one last amendment I need to make, because I remember when we put this together last time, they had quite a lot of difficulty getting up this ramp. This is the ramp from downstairs to upstairs. They were quite small then, but it was quite slippery and quite difficult to get up. So I put extra kind of rungs along. They'd probably manage it okay now, but I think I might do that. And it looks as if, yeah, nearly, these offcuts, or at least one of these offcuts, yeah, one of those offcuts, is about the right width to just kind of cut a few strips off and stick them on. I'll glue them on, I think. They're actually thicker than, yeah, they're thicker than the rungs that are on there already. So yeah, I'll just put a few of these in between the others. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 strips ready for gluing, and I think I'll probably staple gun them as well. Nice load of new rungs all glued into place. So back to the assembly instructions, and to say they're down to a budget is a bit of an understatement. There's not even a staple holding it together, it keeps flying away. So part 1, once I haven't got 2 people, I've got a drill and a screwdriver though. First part looks to be putting together the downstairs part. So there's the front door, which I did yesterday, and then 2 side pieces and a back piece that will screw together with these 40mm screws, which should be in the bag somewhere. Well, those are obviously the side panels, and that's the front panel that I did yesterday. There's 2 panels here that look almost identical, but they're not, because one is a little bit higher than the other. So I've got to make sure I get the right one, because one of them is the roof at the front, and one of them is the side panel. So I need to find the one that's the same width as these 2, so it's not that one. Oh, yes it is. Yes, it's that one. So this is the side panel, and this other one must be the roof. It's one nice thing though, they have colour coded the screws. The 50mm ones are gold colour and the 40mm are silver. One other important little thing is this hole here, which I think is for attaching the roof or a piece of cross bracing, I'm not sure, which means that this piece has to be the right way up, because it would be very easy to get it the wrong way up. I had a brilliant thought to keep it together while I'm screwing these panels together and to keep it square. I've got these corner clamps that my dad used to have for, I think it was for making picture frames. Anyway, I just need to get it level because it's not quite level there, but that'll help keep it together while I screw through. So that's the downstairs bit screwed together. Let's see what's next on the list. Okay, so we have to screw that cross bracing across the top, and then we put the top roof on at the front using 9, so it's all the 40mm screws. So it actually looks quite square. I've put this on the top temporarily, so just got to screw that all into place. And rather stupidly, although I remembered about the hole in the front piece, I forgot there was another hole in this piece which should have been at the top. So this hole doesn't line up with where the bracing is going across, so I'm going to have to drill a hole in the middle here, which is a bit of a shame. I'll have to measure where it is. Oh, actually no, I can line it up. I can just line it up with the mesh, can't I? That would be good. And it's a rectangular cross section, and weirdly the diagram seems to show it, it's not terribly clear, but it seems to show it kind of horizontally. If I put it horizontally, it's not as tall as the outside struts, and I think if I put it vertically it's probably going to be stronger. So I think I'm going to put it this way up. It's fairly obvious which way around the top part goes because all the screw holes are along the front here and there aren't any along the back, so this is the right way round. And that is the outside part completed. So it's these two bits, which is the back of the upstairs and the base of the upstairs, and they've marked them A and B to be able to find them. Put that back on there. And they've marked one of them B, but the other one, as far as I can tell, hasn't got any markings on at all. But it's pretty obvious because it's the one that's got a hole in it. The trouble is it needs a bit of adjustment because this floor section is sticking a bit proud of the frame, so I'm going to have to trim that little bit off there, I think, because otherwise it won't sit flush against the back. Also, despite the fact that it's got B written in this corner, it kind of should line up with this end with the hole. There are some holes drilled in it here which have to line up with the dividing wall inside, which is going to fit about there. So I have to have it this way round. And of course there was a screw missing, but luckily I've got some that are the right size. So I think the next bit is put the ends on. Oh no, put the front on. Weirdly. Oh yes, of course, put the front on and then the ends. And actually it says 40mm again, 3 of them. I don't think there's any 40mm left. They're all gold coloured. They're really not provided anywhere near enough. I might have to measure them all just in case. So that's the front on, and naturally enough there weren't enough of the screws, so I had to provide my own. Nearly level, not quite. There's about 0.5 millimetre out there. So this side panel has to go on next, and obviously it's wider at the front than at the back. So it's just about fitting okay. And this goes on with the 50mm screws, so I've got loads of those. So that's basically put together. It's just this sort of inner wall that needs to go across here and screw on somewhere here. It's got the 20mm screws though, so it's quite short. Really? 20mm screws through there? I think that's wrong. Yeah, it does say 20mm screws, but they're not going to be long enough to go through the front. Yeah, these screws will be okay for the back because they're only going through a thin sheet, but at the front I'm going to get through that strut. There's no way they will fit, so I need bigger screws at the front. Okay, now it says screw the top onto the base, but I'm not going to do that because otherwise you can't separate them again. I had clips holding it on before. I might try and put them on again. And so the last bit is screw those side panels onto the ramp with the 20mm screws and screw that in place. And again, I didn't screw it in place. And then it says screw the lid on, and I don't screw the lid on either. So pretty much everything's done apart from these two side panels. So other than something to stop the ramp sliding down and possibly some clips to hold the top part on, that is basically the new rabbit run finished.